this on. So welcome everyone to the Mastermind Book Club. Tonight we have a special book. It's called The Art of Communication. And I hope you got a chance to listen to part of it, if not the whole thing, because this book is powerful. It has a lot,
God, yes, definitely.
Right?
Yep.
It is really powerful. I took notes and I was like, wow, you know.
I didn't take notes, but I wish I did.
Listening to this book is beyond my expectations. I thought it was going to be about a completely different subject, but this is much deeper than just the art of communication. It's about internal communication. Most of us don't even connect with that, so that's amazing. So I wanted to ask, out of any of you that had got a chance to listen to it, what did you gain from it?
How I'm
Go ahead, Natasha. Yeah.
Sorry, how I'm not communicating. That's what I got out of it.
Right?
All of it. I mean,
oh
it's
my
like,
God.
okay, I should be doing this. Oh, I'm not doing that.
Natasha, that's true. That's the same for me.
No.
So you hit it on the nose, how we're not communicating, how we should be communicating.
But you don't even think about how communication really affects the whole, like, even before the meeting, like when he talked about before the meeting, you have to like take a little bit of time, like 3 deep breaths, right?
Yes.
Before entering the meeting. But sometimes it's like you don't really have the time, or like if I don't think about it, but just being mindful, which I'm not. Well, I should be, but I'm not. But so I guess, yeah.
Yet.
I'm not yet. Yes.
And that is beautiful what you just said, Natasha. You couldn't have summarized it any better. We are not communicating to our maximum levels, but knowing is part of the process. And
that is true.
You hit it on the nose. That is very important. So I'm really grateful that you knocked it right out of the ballpark. That's powerful. Anything else you want to add, Natasha, or should I ask somebody else?
Well, you could ask other people. Yeah.
Okay, but that's good. Thank you.
But this is like 4 hours. I think the book is 4 hours. Yeah.
3 hours. 3 hours and
that's right.
18 minutes.
That's
yes.
Right. But it sounds like it was like it was packed with information. You know.
And I concentrated on the first 2 hours of the book. Mm-hmm. So my summary is basically from what I thought the juicy part of it was. So, but you added to that. That's how powerful this book is. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else want to go over what they learned in this book? Anyone else?
I didn't. I'm not familiar with the book.
It's okay. We're going to add you to the club so that way you can listen to these
because
books.
you sent me the link today.
Yes, and I'm going to add you to the book club if that's okay, Martha.
Yeah.
It's in English
I have my concepts about internal communication. For me, we are all energy.
Yes.
We have protons, we have nucleus, and we have electrons in our body, and we transmit energy. The most important for me is to give it always a positive energy to everybody.
That's
and
right.
I would like to have the same feedback for me, because for negative, it just destroy you energy, destroy your soul. And when you talking to your soul, you're talking to another people on the same level, the communication is increased. It's teaching you a lesson. It's teaching something important to your life. And yeah, that is the more important thing to learn from another people. Something good, something positive, and something about love and companion, and work together and be kind to everybody.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Martha. Martha, everyone, just no one knew. I don't think anyone knew, but I'm gonna have Dennis speak next. But Martha used to be part of my Spanish Mastermind book club. However, because we were more international, it was hard to communicate with everyone, and I had to end that session. And Martha has come to join us because she and I share a passion for reading, for listening to books. And just like everyone here wants to learn, wants to gain more knowledge, and wants to.
And where's Martha from? I'm sorry,
Martha.
David.
Martha go ahead, Martha.
I am from Venezuela,
Okay.
but I've been in New York City for 33 years.
Okay. I'm
So
Russian. I'm
grew up-
Russian.
Are you Russian?
Uh-huh.
She's right next
Okay,
door.
nice to meet you. Nice to
Yes.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
I'm
Awesome, awesome.
I'm glad to meeting you.
Yeah, I speak Russian, but I live in Connecticut. I'm not far from you.
That's
Okay,
wonderful.
I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, nice. I love Brooklyn.
Yeah, you can come anytime you want.
Okay, I will come.
You're
I have many
welcome.
friends. I
You're
have many
welcome.
friends. I have many friends. I have Spanish friends and I have Russian friends.
We
Oh,
are all
that's
your
so
friends
so.
now. We are
Oh
all
yeah.
your friends.
So.
Yes.
I love people.
So don't do it now. We got another month of
No, I know.
quarantine. So
I know I'm not coming.
We don't want the troopers to return you,
No.
go the other way. Yeah, which is happening everywhere. So
Wow.
Dennis had his hand up. He wanted to say something and add for this book, I guess. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yes. I've gone through some communication classes before, and the book, I started to listen to it. I didn't get to the whole thing. But Spasibo and Mucho Gusto, both of you ladies have some important information, and it really does what David and I did earlier today, which is just have basic conversations out loud. So you're aware of how you're communicating to yourself.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
David asked me just earlier today, he's like, well, are you listening to yourself? Did you hear what you just said? Could you say that better? Could you say that differently? And we are energy and we are mass, but our energy, how we communicate with ourselves. Last week I was talking to somebody and I said, get a mirror in front of you. And they're like, okay, why? Go look at the mirror and just say how much you love yourself, and do you believe it? How we talk to ourselves, what we say, the words we use, the internal communication we speak to ourselves silently has an impact, but when we verbalize it on the outside, has a secondary impact to reinforce sometimes our negative thoughts.
Mm.
So by intentionally directing our positive thoughts and then pushing it verbally to the outside, amazing is possible. Thank you.
It is, isn't it?
That is true.
It is.
True.
That's a reality. And, Natasha, I don't know, I know this is a coincidence because we didn't talk any earlier, but what you said resonated because I spoke to Dennis about 3 hours ago, right, Dennis, or 4 hours ago? And
About that, yeah.
what Natasha said is basically what we were talking about. And, thank you, because messages are always delivered. I don't know who else received that message, but what Natasha said was directed to me and to Dennis, in that we had a conversation specifically in regards to what Natasha said. So Natasha, thank you for confirming what we spoke about earlier. So I really, really appreciate that. That's number one. Number two is, I want to let you know that this Mastermind Book Club is about you growing. And if you're not growing with a team, then guess what? It makes it harder to grow on your own, because
that's right.
As much as you want to grow on your own, you need to hear other people's opinions.
That's right.
Even if you don't think they're saying the right thing.
Well, I don't think, I mean, in my opinion, I think you want to be with people that will be supporting you.
Correct.
No? And you don't want to be hanging around people that are not supporting you. But I mean, and I'm just grateful to, you know, that Gina had connected me with you guys.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Gina. You're awesome. Everyone who was at last week's meditation session, wow, I never thought meditation could be so simple. I thought it was much more complex, much more time consuming, and I practice exactly what she went over pretty much daily. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, Rosa did a great job. Yeah.
Yes. And so anyone else want to add to this book? I saw Elmer and Ruth joined. Welcome, welcome. So anyone else want to add to the book, The Art of Communication? Anything that they learned, anything that they thought about?
Well, David, I didn't hear much of what Natasha said because somehow the phone just went out while she was talking.
Oh, that happens to me.
Yeah, it went blank for a good little while.
Natasha, would you like to just summarize that sentence?
No, what did I say? You can say it.
So Natasha said, okay, in reference to this book, The Art of Communication, we need to learn how to communicate better. Internally is the language that we need to learn. We need to communicate with ourselves so that we can be able to communicate with others.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to add to that because the author goes into this, these 5 steps. Number 1, speak the language of the world. And that's what Natasha was referring to. We have to speak the language of the world. What is the language of the world? What is it?
Love, I suppose.
Speaking about love, but self-love, speaking to yourself on what you need, what you can provide others in a compassionate format. Be powerfully compassionate to others. When someone says, hey, can you talk? That is a key word to say, hey, something is on my mind. I am stressed. I have a question. I need to solve something. Do not take those words lightly. They mean I need your help. They mean I am stressed. They mean that you are the person that I am relying on to give me an answer. That's the language of the world. All right? You've heard it before many more times probably than I have. You know, people coming up and saying, hey, can you help me? I have a question. Do you have time? Either they're selling you something about some business they're in, or they're selling you something how to fix themselves, right? So those words are very important, and we, in general, take them lightly, all right? Number 2, speak according to the person that you're listening. So if someone is anxious, oh my God, I need this, which I've gotten all the time. People call me all the time and say, hey, I need a remedy. I need to lose 100 pounds. What do I have to do? I go, it seems you're anxious. And when I say that, they slam the brakes and they slow down. That's the language of the world, right? Now, if someone's sad or upset, which I had someone who was upset last July, we had a fundraiser party and the owner was upset. So he's upset because some person broke the rail, and he was like, oh, I'm going to have to charge you more. You're not going to get your deposit back. And I go, it seems you're upset at 5 in the morning. I could have complained. I could have gone into anger. You know, at 5 in the morning, who's not cranky, right? After a party.
Yeah, but I mean, he has like nothing to be upset about. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, he was.
So who cares? Who cares the rail is broken?
Well, the language of the world is speaking in a compassionate format, not in a challenging format. We like to challenge people because that's the way we were taught. Through society, through our upbringings, through just watching other people. You know, we're taught, oh, they're challenging us, we got to challenge them. Is that so? Is that so? I mean, this book is telling us, listen with great compassion. And just like Gina and Ruth, because it was a duo team last week with the meditation session, it's not about being right as much as getting the other person to see it in a compassionate format. All right? Don't fight the other person. Work with them, right?
Deep
So
listening.
let's work together. So number one, again, speak the language of the world. Number two, speak according to the person that you're listening. Number three, give right to teaching. Give the right of way to teaching. So last week, and I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on this meditation because I learned a lot, much more than I expected. So that meditation session was priceless. And I didn't know there was a format as much as Gina and Ruth, and I'm going to call on both of you because both of you, it was like a duo team. I felt the energy from both as you were doing the meditation. And by the way, Gina and Ruth are sisters. They are, for me, they are connected heavily. And I thank you both for that. But when you give the right to teaching, you not only teach, but you explain what you're going to teach. And that I did not expect from a meditation. Neither did anyone who formed part of the meditation. We did not expect an explanation of why. When you know your why to your meditation, you grow exponentially. Or am I wrong, Gina and Ruth? Is this wrong, or is this, what do you say?
I like that idea that you're coming with when you know your why. And that's important, I think, to know why you're doing what you're doing.
So,
yes.
As you did your meditation, this art of communication came 360 degrees around, because now we're communicating in the language that we need to communicate. We need to understand why we do things, not just in a rush to do the meditation, but to understand that we're communicating with our own bodies. Am I losing people here, or do you understand?
No. I'm still. I have to write you a text because I have to leave like in 10 minutes.
Okay,
but I want to give you information.
Well, we're going to record this anyhow, so this is going to be good. Dennis put, sorry he missed the meditation. I see Elmer, he's like touching his brain to make sure he's getting this information, all this jam-packed nuggets.
That's right. I would like to add a piece.
Go ahead, Elmer. Add a piece, yeah.
So, you know, when I came in a little bit late, and I actually came in when Dennis was speaking about the energy and how we are, you know, masters in energy and all that sort. And I was just having a live video like around 6 in this afternoon where I was specifically talking about that, and specifically talking about how we are individuals of habits. We create habits within ourselves that some of those habits come from when we're very, very, very small. And there's many, many different circumstances in our life that would shape you, but none of that could shape you if you don't allow it to. In order for change to happen, we must change ourselves first. This is amazing. This is an amazing amount of fluent energy when you're able to pick up a new habit like happiness. Pick up the habit of happiness. I was talking about this earlier. When you're able to pick up the habit of happiness and you start to practice happiness, you start to move away from practicing mediocrity, and you start to step away from practicing gossiping, because now you do not have the time to listen to the negative energy. You do not want that negative energy around you, because you are practicing positive. So remaining positive, it's actually something that becomes awkward at the very beginning. And I know this because of the place that I work in. At the very beginning, everybody was looking at me like I was a crazy maniac, because I am an individual that started to practice happiness. And so out of nowhere, you could be sitting next to me and I'll come up to you and be like, hey, I am so happy. And I don't know why. It's because
the baby's not happy now.
That baby, thank you. The
Hey,
baby
Is
is
that
right?
happy?
that
Yes.
baby
Wanna go
is
to sleep?
about to be happy. As a matter of fact, let me share this with you. He's about to be happy right now.
Oh,
That's
Beautiful.
precious
that's so
baby.
cute.
God
How old is
bless.
she?
God bless.
He is a
David,
2 month.
Yes.
He's a 2 month old. He will
Oh
be 2 months
wow.
old in a few more days, but it's close to that. And so
Beautiful.
that is something that this is my crazy happiness moment that happened out of nowhere, which is just intensified how much happier I could be. Because
yeah,
when you're able to have someone else that you know you're gonna be able to take care of, and that you
It is
understand that
true.
happiness that
Mm.
you're gonna be able to bring to that individual, it just becomes like it's such an excitement about the job that you are about to start. You're going to be able to guide this individual in a path to where you will attempt to either show him the route where you can see the negative side so that way they can have that understanding, but you also are able to teach him how to steer to stay on the happy path. And so that way you're able to grow and have success and accomplish so many different things, which is weird because literally I have an experience. My son just started his YouTube channel. He's 12 years old. He does little stop motions. His second video just launched about 2 days ago, and that was, many parents would say, oh, I'm so proud of my son because of what he accomplished, and I don't have that feeling of proudness, but more of happiness on to see the way that he has been able to evolve and flourish is just outstanding. Like being able to see that, the energy, and see the change and the difference when you're able to take just a small seed and plant it. Because this all started by me saying to him, you are a being of creation. You need to create. And
Mhm.
that was a moment that just completely switched him from being entertained to, okay, I have to create something and this is what I want to do. And it's just amusing what you could do when you are able to practice happiness. It's just amazing the things that come to your way. And that's what I wanted to share
Yes.
with you guys. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for letting me
Elmer,
share.
Elmer, we gotta talk. Maybe tomorrow.
For
Even
sure.
for
thank
five,
you.
10 minutes, all right?
No
I
problem.
got some things that I want
Elmer,
to
are
go
you
over
in
with
New
you.
York too?
I'm in
Where's
Florida.
No, he's in Florida. Where my wife
okay.
and I are waiting for this quarantine to get done so that we could head to Disney and then maybe drive up and meet Elmerito.
Oh,
No.
and Gina's in Florida.
Yeah,
Yes, that's right.
David
That's right,
Diaz.
Gina. So maybe we'll see what we can do. Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure, for
So
sure.
even
Yeah,
for
most
five,
definitely.
10 minutes, but
David,
But how did you know each
yes,
other? Do you guys know each other?
yes, we do.
Oh, okay, that's so nice.
And Gina too, and Ruth. I know them as well.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
So,
that's
David,
and
this is
cool.
Ruth.
Congratulations.
David, this is
thank
Ruth.
Ruth. Yes, Ruth.
David. I have to
Yes.
say, listen, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity last week to present. And yeah, I felt like maybe I was taking a little bit of time more than the usual to explain, the tool of meditation.
Oh, you
But
you did
interestingly, I
such a
love
great
this book.
job.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity. This Art of Communication by Thich Nhat Hanh. You know, he's the Zen monk I was telling you about. That that's where I learned my first tool in meditation was, basically he wrote a book that's called Meditation in Every Step. And so I was surprised to see this book being the book
Right.
that you have for this episode. But yes, happiness is in every step. This is something that he basically has been promoting, and if we
Very
realize that
powerful,
just with a
right?
basic step, we can come
Very
back,
powerful.
to mindfulness. It's powerful, yes.
Yes, and it is mindfulness. It definitely is. Each of you has hit something on the nose in reference to this book. And for those who haven't had a chance to listen to the full book, it is powerful. It is well worth it. Let's see here. Reggie says, or be happy on your way to happy. Dennis wrote here. Let me just see. Dennis wrote here. let's see, awesome, Elmer. And Dennis wrote, thank you, Reggie. Be happy on the progress. That's awesome. So Ruth and Gina, I know that Ruth was in charge of the meditation, but you hit on the nose what this book is saying. And I didn't realize it immediately until I read this book, or heard this book, I should say. But the importance of what each and every one of us is doing is in the 5 steps that I'm just going over here. So number 1, speak the language of the world. Number 2, speak according to the person that you're listening to, right? So if the person is depressed, you've got to feel like you are depressed. If the person is not, hold on 1 second here. Hold on, give me 1 second. Just lock this meeting. Okay, good. So I have another meeting at 9, so people are starting to come in early, anxiously. But so number 2 is speak according to the person that you're listening, which is very simple. If they're anxious, you should be a little anxious so that they feel like you're listening to them. So, you know, if you have a dog that's like this, just like Tony Robbins does, then you've got to act a little bit like that, you know, and believe it or not, you'll connect better with the person. You'll connect better with the person. Or, like I've told you, if a person is, you know, is really anxious to get the antidote to curing cancer, and you've got it, and you just tell them, hey, it seems you're anxious, you know. It's a journey, but yes, somebody broke something here. I just got that, it flashed in front of me. It's a journey, but yes, David, we have to know the why to adopting any practice, even meditation. Yes, that's right. So let's get back to these 5 steps. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth, but this is the way this author was trying to explain this. Give the right to teaching, all right? We each have a right to teaching. We each have a right to learn. And teach in a way that tells the truth every single time. The author says sometimes we have to come to a point where it's not easy to give the truth to someone. Like, for example, let's say John's wife died, for example, and then the police come to your house. They have a protocol. What do? They say, John, is this your wife? So-and-so? I have some bad news. Brace yourself. Once you say that, they are preparing for the bad news. So that's what you got to do in teaching the truth. Number 2 is in teaching the truth is that don't say one thing to one person and say a completely different thing to another person, because that in the end catches up to all of us. It's caught up with me because I used to live that way. And I grew up out of it. I learned that it was bad, and I'm grateful that I've grown out of that. And then number 5 is no birth, no death. That means, as Martha was saying in the beginning, we were not created at inception. Our bodies were created at inception. We were energy before inception, and we will be energy after our bodies die.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple, and it's a reality that not everybody will understand, not everybody will agree, not everybody will follow. So, but I believe in this. I believe we were energy before inception, and I believe we will be energy after we leave. And I want to add one simple thing to that, is that if you get accustomed to what Stuart Wilde said in his book, is that you have to embrace death. Because if you embrace it, if you talk to it, then it will be so much easier to adapt yourself to saying, I'm going to live, and the day that my body dies, I'm going to continue living. Because you're going to live in a different format. No energy dies. No one can prove that energy dies. Energy transforms. So we're going to transform, and we're going to be bigger and better wherever we go. Believe it. Live it. Fulfill it. And that's what the art of communication is. And Martha didn't read this book, didn't listen to it, but she She was like, oh my God, how did Martha come up with this? I didn't tell her this information. Martha, did somebody tell you this information? Maybe Elmer or Ruth or Jeannie or somebody?
No, I was reading. I was
So-
reading. I was reading too. When you leave this part of your life, you have to leave
Yes.
happiness in the happy
Yes.
way. Don't leave
Correct.
angry. Don't leave regret. Leave happiness, because your soul is going to leave your body, and your soul is going to be more happy around wherever he goes. Your soul, the universe, or wherever your soul is going, is going to be very happy wherever he goes. If you
So-
live in tragedy and regret and sadness, your soul is going to be sad for the whole life,
So I
for
want to
the
leave
rest of
you.
his life.
I want to leave you with these 2 important things that this author tells us. Whenever you're getting ready to talk to one person, 2 people, hundreds of people, say the simple phrase or something similar to this. Number 1 is say, I am here for you. 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 Whoops.
Oh my God, come on.
Whoops, 1 second. Let's see, got it. All right, I just muted that line. And then number 2 is, I know you are there and it makes me very happy. You just say that to yourself. You don't say that to anybody else. You don't say that to the other person. You just say it to yourself in your body, in your brain, in your heart, because that connection will connect with the other person. I am here for you. In your brain. You don't say it loud. Just say it in your mind. Yes, Elmer, you got it. And the same thing with your family, with your spouse, with your kids. Say it, you know, telepathically connect with them. You know, I don't live with my mother. My mother's in the Dominican Republic. Now I imagine her in her house, being okay, sending her love through my communication. Communication, it's internal. We can connect. These last 2 books relate to our internal communication. It is a coincidence. I did not pick these books because I knew what was coming. This is a coincidence. We're being taught about this communication. There are other levels of communication, but I want to leave you with this last one. There's one phrase that I'm going to share with the 10 people who are listening to this call right now. This phrase I repeat to myself whenever I go live with anyone or whenever I'm going to talk to someone. You're not going to remember it once, so I hope you listen to this video if you're interested. But I tell myself, I now command my subconscious mind to direct me in helping as many people as possible today by giving me the strength, humor, emotions, and brevity, and whatever it takes to show these people and help these people's lives now. Isn't that powerful?
Yes. Lovely.
And if you want to learn this, you're going to have to listen to this recording because I'm not going to repeat it. So this is a Tony Robbins incantation. But what I told you about this book is very similar. I am here for you, and I know you are there, and it makes me very happy. That's part of it. But if you want to practice that last one that I just said, you're going to have to listen to this recording, which we are almost to the end of our recording. And before we end it, I want to ask, does anyone want to contribute, have a question, want to add some more gold for this class?
I want to say thank you for inviting me tonight. And I was listening to everybody, and I get a little information from everybody. And when you work together, you grow up more because you listen everybody's opinion. Everybody have different opinions and different things to say. That's where you're growing up.
Yes.
And thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy to be with you guys tonight.
Thank you.
And
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you. That is beautiful. Thank you, Marta. I will add you to the group, Marta. And does anyone else want to comment on anything
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead. Yep.
That was lovely, Martha. Thank you. And yes, David, thank you so much
Yes.
for doing well.
Thank you.
I don't know if Natasha is still, you're welcome. I don't know if Natasha is still on the line, but I was thinking about what they were talking, the book was talking about listening, you know, and what you're saying as well, David. And Natasha and I, we took this avatar course. We became, you know, avatar masters. And that's one of the things that they teach us to do, you know, deep listening. And what that entails is listening to someone when they're having, you know, some kind of issue, and just looking at them with appreciation, you know, for the problems that they might be going through. So it's just, we just sit there and listen to them, and it's like you're warmly embracing them without really hugging them, you know. And eventually we notice that there's a shift in the person's mind just by sitting with them and looking at them, you know, sort of like baby eyes. You know, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And eventually, it's been quite amazing just to watch how people eventually would just come to the point like, wow, they figured it out just by us sitting there and not even saying anything. It's like, okay, but that was like, and you know, this because and blah, blah, blah. And you watch them just, the whole thing just unravels before your eyes. So
That's
anyway,
right. That's
I just
right.
wanted to add, that was pretty amazing. And then you're looking at this being with appreciation, and like in your heart, you're saying, I really love you. Look how beautiful this being, you know, of a being you are. And we all create drama in our lives. So you can say something like, wow, you know, the drama, look at the creation that this person has come up with. Because, you know, all of that is going through our minds, because in the end, we created it all, you know, and it served us, they teach us that it served the purpose when we created whatever is happening in our lives. And when we're ready to get over with it, then, you know, then we start to face it, and then we realize, oh, that doesn't serve us anymore. You know, it doesn't serve the purpose it used to serve before. Now I'm going to shift from that mindset.
Awesome,
you know,
awesome.
we don't make them do that. That's automatically what happens after we start to like, wow, talk to ourselves, get connected to what's on the inside, you know, and then we have a mind shift. Amazing. Anyway.
Yes, it is. Thank you for sharing. Gina, thank you very much. Anybody else want to add any question, any thoughts?
I like to add just a little thing, if I may.
As much as you want, Elmer. Nothing is little.
I think this is actually one of the biggest keys that I have had for myself, that has allowed me to reach so high, coming from literally very, very, very low at the bottom. You are what you think about. That was the quote that I heard from Earnhardt, and it stuck with me, and it revolutionized how I have a overview of the world now. It's amazing. So
it is, right?
What we practice, whatever we say, what we practice is like, if you close your mouth and you say your name, you can hear it, but you could actually hear it in your ears, which is amazing. And so when you have that inside of you, that you could literally, sometimes you hear like something's telling you not to do something, and you can actually hear it. That's your subconscious mind talking to you. It just know what many people don't have the opportunity to realize how to get in touch with that energy, which is your true self. It's amazing. But yes, you are what you think about was one of the quotes that I would like to share with you guys, that was astonishing, and it completely 360 my life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I really appreciate that, Elmer. And sometimes most of the times, we don't talk to ourselves. All right. I spoke with Dennis. I don't know if he's still on here. I know he has to work, so he has to sleep He usually sleeps at this time because he wakes up at midnight to work. So he works all night. This morning, I was having a little weird feeling in my throat, and I'm presuming it was some of that virus that's going around. And I told Dennis, and if he listens to this video, he'll listen to it. But I told Dennis, this is what I told my body, because we don't speak to ourselves enough. I told my body, listen, I feel you. If you want to live, get out of my body now, because you're going to die very soon. And within 30 minutes or so, I felt much better. Maybe less than that. So you've got to talk to yourself. And not only that, you've got to learn the secrets of healing. And guess what? I'm an expert in that. And meditation is one of those things. Talking to yourself is another. Eating the right foods is another. Exercising is another. Saying the truth is another. Being able to share with your family is another. And I'm certain there are many more, but I just gave you a few, all right? Visualizing what you want, acquiring more than the average person ever wants to acquire is another one, all right? Let's leave it there because I know I'm probably going beyond everybody's
I'm sorry. I just had to say
patience.
something because
Go
you're
ahead.
speaking
Go
about
ahead.
the healing.
Yes.
I am living proof of walking out of the hospital, curing myself by demanding my body and my subconscious mind to do so from a gallbladder stone. I walked
Wow.
out of the hospital from
Wow.
a gallbladder stone that took me there.
Wow.
And this happened
Wow.
over the course of, the Hurricane Maria, leaving me completely flat zero, having to eat whatever that was available. It created me within the 6 months mark after eating all of that junk that I had to eat. I had to walk into the hospital and they were like, you have multiple stones and we need to operate you tomorrow morning. In the morning time, I had throughout the whole entire night sat in meditation and forced my body to cure itself because you have the ability to do so. By the morning time, the doctor came to check me out and I was like, I'm not getting any surgery. I feel fine. Let me go home. He goes, you're crazy. If I let you go home now, you're probably under the medication. You're just going to come back in a few hours. I said, no, let me go and you will not see my face again.
Wow.
And I got proof. I could literally. I show you my stomach. I did not get cut. It was
Very good.
amazing on how what you can do when you really,
Yes.
really take that charge and the belief that you can do it. It's just amusing. I have to share that because
By
that's
any
something that
chance,
I
do
don't
you
share a lot of
mean
people.
kidney stone or gallbladder? Do you mean kidney
Gallbladder
stone?
stone. When
Because
you
a
get
kid,
gallbladder stone, you have to get it removed to get the
yes.
pain to go away.
Well, that's why I asked, because kidneys are much more common, kidney stones.
Right,
So
right. So gallbladders is something that usually everybody that walks into the hospital with gallbladder, unless your body type doesn't allow you to get it removed and you will have to live with the pain, you
yes.
get surgery ASAP because it is
Wow.
a amusing amount of pain that you go through that comes from
Yes.
your back to the front and it just feels astonishing, amusing how hard it hurts. But to be able to have done that myself by taking charge of my subconscious and my body, it's the reason how I actually stay skinny. You could stay skinny by demanding your body to do so. It's amusing. You have no
Wow.
idea how.
Yes.
Amazing. Listen, you have the
Yes.
power. You have a power that was given to you. Remember, you are 1 in 1.4 million. The lucky ones to be here on this
Yes.
lapse of time. So we have such powerful power to create that we don't understand. We need to deep in there and we have to take and use for good. It's amazing the things you can do with that. It's amusing. And I am a testify of that. And it's just take control. You have to take control. It's amusing.
Wow. No, no, I believe it. I totally believe what you're saying, Elmer, and that is not far from the truth. The reality is, let's see, love to practice heartfelt meditation. Great. Yes, of course we can do that. So thank you, Elmer. What you just said is true. I mean, we can attract what we want in our life in reference to health, in reference to money. However, it's not overnight. If it were overnight, everybody would be doing it. You know, easy jobs. Everyone can have an easy job. I could have an easy job. I had an easy job for many years until I realized that it was not fulfilling, because I love to drive, but a driving job is not fulfilling. This is fulfilling. I'm enjoying this. So, and we're a little bit over time, but I just want to leave you with this. April is going to be the last full month that we're going to have the full group in this Mastermind book club. And if anyone wants to be serious about knowledge and about growing and about creating a book, we're going to talk about that on Thursday in the Mastermind book club extended. We're going to talk about whether you want to create a full book or you want to create a chapter of a book. And if anyone is interested in either of those, this Thursday, we're going to have a call for that at 8 p.m. So I know that people have mentioned to me that they've wanted to create a book. And if you're interested, I'm going to start posting that. And I'm going to go live on Facebook and Instagram tomorrow about creating a book. So I expect to have many more people join us. And we'll work from there. All right. So just be aware, I don't want to get rid of anyone, but we have close to, I don't remember if it's close to 50 or 100 people in the Mastermind Book Club. But however, most people are not active, and I'm not charging a penny, and that's why people are not active. If they had a commitment, they would be here, if you understand what I mean. And you know the commitment. The commitment is for you to gain knowledge. We learn from each other. I've learned from each and every one of you, and you should be learning from me as well. If not, then we're not going anywhere. So this is the reality. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. And again, Thursday night, we're going to go over for those who want to create either a book or want to be part of a book. So we're going to go through that, and then we'll talk about it. All right? So thank you to each and every one of you. If you don't have anything, anyone else want to say anything before we end it? Anyone else? Trudy, you've remained a little quiet today. Wonder if you're upset with me.
David.
Yes, go ahead.
David.
Yes?
David.
Hi.
It's Ruth.
Ruth,
Just
yes.
one last note. Yes. You know, there's something that helps me, especially in this time, to where everybody is, you know, everywhere you turn, you're hearing all the negativity about COVID-19.
Yes.
And you worry about yourself and your family members, but of course we're using the tool of prayer. But one thing that is really strong to help me refocus my mind on health is to, you know, close my eyes and repeat this kind of mantra, you know, this prayer that I am incredibly healthy. And I repeat that over and over and over
Very
again.
good.
And I feel it in my heart. And it is a good meditation to engage in. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you for sharing. That's true. That is very, very true. You are very healthy. You have to say it, tell yourself. You have to tell yourself that you are powerful, that you can do anything, that whatever you attract, you can do. Meditation is about so much more. And I'm going to talk to Gina about that probably tomorrow, I don't know, or the next day, Gina. Or Ruth, sorry. I confuse you both. Ruth,
Okay.
Or either one of you, because I believe Ruth is the one that has the more experience in reference to meditation. And we'll see what we can do, because our lives depend on our art of communicating with ourselves, and meditation is a skill that most of us don't come across, and that's what wealthy people do every day. All right? Don't forget that. Working online as I'm listening, but great stuff. That's what Trudy said. So this is it for today. Our session is ended. I want to thank each and every one of you. And Martha, I will add you to the Mastermind Book Club, and then we'll talk from there. And for those interested in creating a book or be a chapter of a book, we'll talk on Thursday. All right? Everyone, have a great evening and talk soon. Take care. God bless. Elmer and Ruth will talk tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
See you guys. Good night.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Night.